Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here now on day 3, so my 48-hour review of the Galaxy A70. And this has been a really awesome phone to test, and I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. I'm going to go down the laundry list here, and we're going to do it in this mini review format. So I have quite a few apps I want to talk about with you guys. I'll be doing a little bit of performance, some benchmarks here, the audio test. I'll also be doing a little bit of PUBG Mobile, and then I'll wrap up with sharing some samples of the camera shots I've been getting with this phone in the last day. But for 48 hours in, I must say this phone is really something else. It is really making me question now whether Xiaomi and their Redmi series is the most budget and kind of best value phone at those price points on the market. I got this phone for just over 2,800 Hong Kong dollars, so that is a little bit more expensive. It's in the 350 price range, but Samsung's coming hot and heavy into the mid-range segment with the A20, the A50, and this is the A70. It's kind of in the higher tier of those mid-range phones they've released, but it's definitely, I think, the most appealing in terms of its specs and capability. So let's go down this list here and just share my thoughts in the final verdict at the end, whether this phone is good and what, if anything, could be the one main drawback that would make me not recommend this phone. So let's have a look. Design, as previously stated, 183 grams, 7.9 millimeters. And yes, this is a plastic edge and a plastic back, but in a certain lighting, it does look really nice. This color is less of a fingerprint magnet. Now, should I completely give Samsung a pass for releasing plastic phones? No, I shouldn't. But plastic done right can actually still feel really great in the hand. And this is an example of that. This back feels very sturdy. I don't find any points of give like I tried on, let's say, that Honor 10 Lite previously that had a garbage plastic back. And the sides are definitely also plastic, but they feel really premium. It does almost feel like a metal, but it's more akin to what you would see on the Redmi Note 7. So all in all, the design of this phone, considering its size, is really great. And the main reason why I like it is this display, 6.7-inch full HD AMOLED panel, 393 pixels per inch. The bottom bezel is very small, and the top bezel is as well. Yes, there is a notch on this phone, and some of you may not like that, but for me, it is not a deal breaker. This is one of the best panels that I have seen on a phone at this price point, and I would kind of put it up there next to the panels on the OnePlus 6T in terms of quality. So it's not to the level of the S10 Plus's panel. And here is the Galaxy S10 Plus as a size comparison next to the A70. So the A70 definitely is a little taller, and the screen is also a little bit bigger. So if you're wanting that big size phone, you can see this even dwarfs the S10 Plus. Both of these panels are great. I still give the edge to the S10 Plus, but looking at these white points, you see Samsung is really giving it their all with the A70's panel. And while yes, it maybe is not to the level of the S10 Plus's screen, I think you'll be very happy with this panel. Cycling through the photos, this is full AMOLED, so you do get those deep blacks. I also like the way this panel is calibrated. Even in vivid mode, the colors still look realistic, but they do pop a little more in terms of contrast, and I think is one of the major selling features of this phone. You have a 6.7-inch beautiful display for photos, but what about for video? And here is YouTube playback on the A70. When I go full screen, yes, this notch is in the way. It's a little bit more intrusive than some of you would like, but I don't mind it. The only phone that gives me as good a viewing experience as this has been the Mate 20X, and that also had a big, beautiful AMOLED panel. So the A70 is up there with some of the best displays for viewing content. And in DRM info, another welcome site, L1 baby, out of the box, which means you'll get HD Netflix on this Galaxy A70. And talking about battery, we'll need to fully test this. Stay tuned for my upcoming drain test. Not sure when I will do this, but it will be within the next week. But right now, screen on time is averaging around 9 hours. I think it will last even longer with that 4,500 milliampere battery. Stay tuned for my full battery tests coming soon. Geekbench scores, and these are really solid for the 675 here, especially because it is running 8 GB of RAM, 2,388 single, and a 6,600 multi-core. That is a great score and is getting up there in terms of single core next to the Snapdragon 845. This 675 chip is a powerhouse of a mid-range chip, and any phone that has it, at least from the CPU perspective, is going to do great. And just ran the Antutu benchmark, 169,000. This can get over 170,000. So it is definitely a step above the 660, which was in the 130 to 140 range, but it's still not to the level of the Snapdragon 800 series processors, which are clearly well over 200,000 and even 300,000 in the case of the Snapdragon 855. But this is still a great performer and should do a really good job in day-to-day use. And speaking of day-to-day use, One UI, whether you love it or whether you hate it, I have definitely enjoyed my time with it. I know you guys have complained about the larger icons, but there are levels of detail that I really do appreciate on this OS. It is the best version of software that Samsung has ever released, and they will continue to tweak it to make it even better. So I am very happy with One UI. I never expected I would say that of Samsung software, but they really have stepped it up with this great new skin on their phones. And now, quick audio speaker test. I'll be testing this phone next to some other phones in my epic comparison coming in a few days. But for now, let's have a listen. Initial impressions of the speaker are okay. This is definitely not the S10 Plus speaker in this phone, and the phone does get loud, but it gets a little tinny at 100%, but we'll be comparing it next to the Nokia X71 and Redmi Note 7 Pro soon. But just from my own ear, having listened to those other phones, it sounds like this one is kind of in the middle of the pack, but it is definitely one of the places where Samsung has probably undercut the experience here on the Galaxy A70. And so here we are in PUBG Mobile, and as you can see, that notch is eating in, and I even did reset for rounded corners and notch, and it is still doing that. So a little bit unfortunate, but at least it's a little curved on the edge there, so it's not a terrible gameplay window. And so let me show you the settings. We got HDR, Ultra, Realistic, Enabled, Anti-Aliasing, and I have disabled Auto Adjust Graphics. So let's get started here. A quick PUBG gaming demo on the Galaxy A70. And just so you know, the phone recommended the highest settings when I started the game initially. So that is a welcome sight. And the 675 is going to do a great job, I think, in PUBG Mobile. And now the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Oh man. No frame drops, and the phone is nice and cool right now to the touch. In the plane jump, looks really clear, no frame drops. A little disappointing about this, but it actually doesn't bother me because this screen is so big, you're going to have a great time playing on this phone. Let's jump out. So let's get to the surface, get some guns, and let's see some action. There's definitely some action going on. Got my guns. Someone just shot at me. Let's see if they're upstairs. And I just saw someone. Oh yeah. Straight shot. Oh gosh, that guy came out of nowhere. Alrighty, let's see if we can find another kill before we wrap this quick demo up. Phone is a little warm on my left hand, but nothing too serious. What a big window to play this game. This is the biggest size screen I played this game on in a while, and I miss my Mate 20X. You guys probably wonder, why did you ever get rid of that phone, Frankie Tech? Well, Sometimes you just have to move on to different phones, and that's what I had to do in this case. But this is the closest experience I've had to that Mate 20X in months. So just from that alone, the Galaxy A70 is going to perform PUBG Mobile really great, and I think is a worthwhile phone to consider if gaming is your main priority. And someone's shooting at me. There they are. Take that. Oh yeah. Wanted to end this with another kill, so I'm glad I got it. PUBG Mobile on the Galaxy A70. Solid gaming experience. Camera, and we have that 32 megapixel f1.7 with an 8 megapixel ultra wide and that 5 megapixel depth sensor. I've already done the sample shot in the previous video, so now have a look at these samples that I've taken over the past day and let me know what you think. And this is rear-facing video on the Galaxy A70, 4K, 30 frames per second. Looks pretty good. Don't know what the mics are like, but I'll have to check afterwards. Nice day here in Hong Kong, but hit me up in the comments, what do you think? This is front-facing video on the Galaxy A70, tracking pretty well here. The front-facing video is 1080p only, but it looks pretty good. Let's get some movement going here. Oh yeah. No trucks coming down the street today. Hit me up in the comments, what do you think? Final verdict. This is one of the most compelling phones I've tested on Frankie Tech in the past couple of months. A lot of the other Xiaomi and Huawei phones I've tested, they tick the boxes for what you expect out of that price point, but there are certain aspects of those phones in terms of software or just in terms of just fit and finish that I think are a bit lacking at times. When I saw Samsung come and release these A-series phones out, I was very skeptical considering their previous track record in the mid-range segment, but this A70 has been a really impressive phone, and there are so many great aspects of it, from battery life, performance, big beautiful display. I'm getting feelings of that Mate 20X that I just enjoyed so much in this phone. Now, build quality is definitely takes a little bit of a step back because of the plastic build, but I still feel they do it right, and this color scheme in coral looks really great. So is this phone perfect? No, it's not. And there's one aspect of this phone that I have found very infuriating. I think you may know what it is. It is the in-display fingerprint scanner. I finally got the in-display scanner working a bit better today, but yesterday it was a disaster. And I must say that this in-display fingerprint scanner is probably one of the worst in-display fingerprint scanners I've tested. And let me show you how long it takes once again to open up this phone. That is actually about as fast as I can get it to go, but that is still pretty slow. And that's considering when you actually get it right, because there were times yesterday where I was not getting this fingerprint scanner right. This is hopefully something they can fix in software, but it is still, as you can see, a very slow experience. Did you see that one? That one was really slow. And that one didn't even register. There we go. There's no match. And finally, it got it. I don't know which in-display fingerprint scanner Samsung is using on this phone, but it is clearly not the latest gen version. It is maybe even one of the first gen versions, and it is garbage. This in-display fingerprint scanner may be a deal breaker for you guys if you really must rely on that. For everyone else, if you want to get this phone, set up the face unlock. It is far faster, but even still is not as fast as some of the other ones I've used. So the biometrics on this phone are the one negative and the one major con I would put against this phone. But beyond that, this phone brings so much to the table in terms of battery, display technology, in terms of performance. And if you can get it for that price point of around 2,700 to 800 Hong Kong dollars, or around 350 US dollars, you're going to get a lot of phone for a very good price. Now, I know this price will vary in certain locations like the EU and in other spots, but have a look out for this phone on T-Mobile and some of the other websites that may have good deals on it. So my final verdict on this phone, despite the fingerprint scanner debacle, I still fully recommend this phone, and I hope in software they can improve that experience soon. So that's it for my 48-hour review of the Galaxy A70. But what do you think of this phone? Is this phone something that you want to get? Is the fingerprint scanner issue something that you're concerned about? Hit me up in the comments, and definitely feel free to ask me any questions you have about this phone. I'll try to get to them, but it's a very popular phone, I can tell, with you guys. So I'll try to get to those questions as soon as I can. And that's it for this. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. Big epic comparison coming on Thursday between the Galaxy A70 and the Redmi Note 7 Pro and the Nokia X71. I'm going to be putting them through the ringer and seeing which phone comes out on top, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Y'all have a good one.